Hi, this is Aptamer with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 13th of August. Starting off with the FTSE 100 as usual, and we are toying with the record levels. I suppose the big peak there at 91.84, and today 91.82, which is obviously very exciting. But we need to clear the 9200 zone and head towards the top of that rising trend channel from the end of April as high as 9400. Looking for that by the end of next month. We can get a quick clearance of recent 9190 zone resistance. On the downside, there's obviously the August support there, 9027. Worst case is that there's a rug pull down to 8840 in the 50-day line, but we haven't been back below the 50-day line since the beginning of May, so this is a strong looking market. DAX is next, and here we're still struggling with that resistance line there from back in July. I probably wish I'd never drawn it, but 24,400 level there, so end of day close above that. Required to get us to the top of the rising trend channel from May last year, size 25,400. Looking with that by the end of next month, given how slow the price action is there, but obviously there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to get there in a couple of weeks, given the way this market can move when it wants to. On the downside, 23,000 currently the worst case scenario on the support front. You can see also that we've had RSI 50 rebound to start this week and a bounce off the 50-day line, which is currently rising very slightly. So that is a positive indication that we're going to break through that July line. Moving along to the Dow, and here it's been messy, to say the least, over the recent past. Still trading either side of the 44,000 level. We've just basically said it's either the support there at the 50-day line, 43,700, or resistance, the record high is 45,000, and we're going to have a sort of pinball effect between the two levels. The other point to note, which is positive at the moment, is that we've got bounces for the RSI near the neutral 50 level, not quite above it, but at least near it, which is effectively like a leading indicator on the upside. So at the moment, still, while we're above that 50-day line, looking for a break to the upside and the top of that rising trend channel, the red one, from the spring of last year as high as 47,400, which we're looking for by the end of next month or even sooner. Onto the cryptos, and the first one is Bitcoin here on the right side with 120,000, which seems great. Just looking for an end of day close really above 121. That was the resistance after the spike that we had last month at 123. If we can get through 121 today, we still have time to get to the top of that rising trend channel from back in March as high as 132,000 by the end of this month, something that one or two of the Bitcoin treasury strategy companies I think could do with. On the downside, not expecting anything lower now than the 50-day line and mid-July support there at 115,000. Onto Ethereum, which has quickly become the star of the show. I think people almost switching out of Bitcoin, at least in terms of the traders, and going into Ethereum. And we've hit our 4,400 target, which at the time earlier this month seemed to be a bit ambitious. Above the upper parallel, that red resistance line there from February, around 4440, looking for up to 5,500, which we were looking for, 5,550, which we're looking for by the end of next month. The way things are going, might even get there by the end of this month, but at least above that 4,400 zone, the upside and continuing upside seems to be on the cards for Ethereum. Gold is next, and here a bit of a kick in the teeth after the lack of tariffs on gold, which I suppose it really didn't have, but resistance line there from back in April, 34.30, uptrend line from the floor of the channel there at 33.30, and that's the range we have at the moment. Slight negative bias from the RSI, but it's only fractionally below neutral 50, so still assuming that the price channel floor will hold and will break 34.30, hopefully before the end of this month. Worst case is a rug pull towards 32.30, the post-June support, in fact, the post-May support for this market. Maybe onto the stocks, and I've covered Aptamer 100 times, probably more than I should have, but very excited to see whether the shares can get up to that red resistance line projection from July last year, 0.68. Above zero point 0.6, it looks like it would be a done deal, and it should happen by the end of this month. Interesting setup at Bluebird, where we've got multiple bounces off a rising 50-day line and the RSI above the neutral 50 level. That suggests that we are ready for a fresh leg to the upside, retest of 2p, hopefully by the end of next month. And in fact, one could change all the lines there at the moment and just say that we're in a rising trend channel from the last couple of months. If I can start that process with the floor of the channel at the 50-day line and looking for the upper parallel of that resistance line projection towards the 2p mark. If you're cautious, you'd want to see a break of that resistance line that I've just drawn there at around the 1.1p level on an end of day close basis, which it looks as though we are on cue to do. Next one is critical mineral, and here we've blown out all the targets. We're on our third target here, and looking for our fourth target, which I've prepared earlier. Here, the resistance on the way down around the 3.84p level, so we're looking at that by the end of next month, while we're above the old February resistance, and basically that should hopefully come in as new support at 2.75p. So above 2.75, looking for up to 4p on critical mineral. Onto Fiinu, which has done what we wanted it to do, and headed and broke the top of that rising trend channel at 14p. Above that, we've got a fresh leg to the upside on the cards as high as 23p. We're looking at that as soon as the end of this month, while we're above the old resistance there at 15p and the old target. Novacyt is next, which is a stock which normally is rather dead, but now and again sort of has a flurry to the upside, as we saw back in May. We've got the situation now where we've a bear trap from below the July support there, and the price channel for 39p. Above that, looking at the top of the range, and the top of the channel at 56p by the end of next month, hopefully much sooner. Good news for Oxford Biodynamics today, or at least the market liked the good news. The news regarding the collaboration with Google Cloud, and here. Look, you still get the feeling that somebody wants to sell this stock into strength, but obviously when it's at the lower levels, then they're hoping that the shares will go up. But with an unfilled gap to the upside, the second one in a month, in fact, there. So basically looking for the top of the range here into the 60s, while we stay on the right side of 0.4p, the old resistance on the way down from back in June. Missing ingredient is an end of day close above the 50-day line and also above RSI 50, which would be much appreciated. Next is Oracle Power, which has woken up as it tends to do now and again. Haven't had one of these flurries to the upside since April. We've already hit the top of the recent range around 0.03. Above that, looking for resistance on the way down 0.046 by the end of this month. Obviously, fundraisers permitting. The company seems to be a specialist in that area. Onto Shield, and here you can see there's a rising trend channel on the top of the range, looking for 6.75p by the end of this month, while we're above recent support around 4.4p on a mid-close basis. Service Transforms has been a little bit quiet after the flurry higher that we had a little while ago. I think the shares rocketed between April and June, but we're having another go now. Top of the range and the top of that channel there, or the upper parallel of the channel from November, as high as 1.8p, which we're looking for by the end of this month. Otherwise, there is a gap to fill up to 2.75p, which is the best case scenario target, hopefully by the end of next month, so end of September. Ideally, we stay above that 50-day line, which is rising at 1.08 in the meantime on that situation. Decent update from Winking Studios, which I think is a company that nobody's heard of, although the name is rather amusing. Top of the channel here up to 18p, and we're looking for that while we're above the we can get above the 200-day moving average at current levels. Above 18p for people who are looking for a bit more on the upside. The upper parallel of that would be up to 25p by the end of next month if everything goes well in terms of breaking that 200-day line. Finishing off with WeCap, one of the stalwarts of the Aquis market, and here you can see that we have finally, after it took rather longer than expected, actually, especially we had that pullback there back in June, but we've hit our target area. The previous target was basically to hit 1.8 while we're above zero point 0.8, which just about worked. Next level up above 1.8 is to hit the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base from last year, as high as 2 3/4 pence, and we're looking for that by the end of next month, or hopefully a bit sooner than that, given the rug pull that we had, which hopefully would have the rug pull from the June peak, which would presumably have got out all the weak hands or all the people accidentally in the stock or trying to make big money without any stress. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.